Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you were there? Or perhaps suddenly forgot a name that was always on the tip of your tongue? For many, this seems like just a normal consequence of aging. But what if I told you that these memory lapses could be caused, or worse, accelerated, by something you consume every day, without even realizing it? What you're about to discover may surprise you, especially if you're over 50. We are talking about something so common, so present in the routine of thousands of people, that it is rarely questioned: the food we put on our plate. More specifically, the prohibited foods for the elderly, which, although they are on supermarket shelves and even in so-called healthy diets, may be silently contributing to the memory loss. And the first on this list is an old acquaintance, and also one of the most treacherous. Did you know that the refined sugar has a direct impact on brain health? Yes, it does. It can interfere with communication between neurons and cause brain inflammation, a process that, over time, compromises mental clarity and information retention. Recent studies reveal that high sugar consumption can even reduce the volume of the hippocampus, the region of the brain responsible for forming and storing memories. And the worst part is that many people don't realize that they are ingesting this invisible enemy every day, in seemingly harmless cookies, in carton juices, and even in cereals that claim to be light. So, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever found yourself believing that a little sweet treat won't hurt, without realizing the cumulative effect this can have on your mental health over the years? The truth is that it's not about food terrorism, but about conscience. Understand that after 50, some eating habits need to change. And fast. Because continuing to eat as if you were still 20 years old can cost you dearly, especially when the price is your lucidity, your memories, and even your identity. Stay with me until the end, because in the next few minutes you will find out what other foods are silently sabotaging your brain, and why many of them are still seen as practical or even nutritious. And get ready, because the last one on the list is, by far, the most consumed by elderly Brazilians. Now that you understand the role that refined sugar can play in memory loss, it's time to reveal a second villain that might be in your fridge, right now. If this topic resonates with you, if at some point you found yourself in the situations I described or started to reflect on your diet and the signals your body has been giving you, leave a comment below with what has touched you the most so far. I read everything very carefully, and your experience may help other people who are going through the same doubts but have not yet found the courage or information to change. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, take advantage of it now, and click the like button. This will really help the channel reach more people who need to hear this kind of warning. People who, like you, want to live longer and better, with active memory and autonomy. And, of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel here. That way you won't miss the next videos, where we'll delve even deeper into these issues and bring practical, accessible, and effective solutions for taking care of your brain and health after 50. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and continue to bring information that can transform lives. And now, with a more open mind, let's continue. Because the next food on the list, besides being widely consumed by the elderly, carries a risk that almost no one talks about. And when we talk about practical food, what comes to mind? Something that is quick to prepare, easy to store in the fridge, and that satisfies hunger without much work. That's why so many seniors end up resorting to the famous processed meats: ham, sausage, smoked turkey breast, mortadella. The promise is tempting. Just open the package, make a sandwich, and that's it. But what many people don't realize is that this practicality comes at a very high cost, especially when we're talking about brain health. The hidden truth behind these foods is on the tiny labels that almost no one reads. Nitrites, nitrates, synthetic preservatives, stabilizers, dyes, a chemical mix created to give color, flavor, and durability. But what do these compounds do inside the body? Several studies show that these substances have a direct impact on the central nervous system. They cause silent inflammation, alter brain chemistry, and over time, favor what experts call accelerated cognitive decline. Memory gradually fades, not because of age, but because of small choices repeated every day. The bologna sandwich in the morning, the hot dog on the weekend, the salad with turkey breast for dinner. All of this adds up until you start to feel the consequences. Difficulty concentrating, mental fatigue, confusion with dates and names. And yet, behind all of this, there is an even crueler detail. Many of these foods continue to be sold as healthy options. This dissonance between what appears to be and what actually is part of a little-discussed background to the food industry. And when you combine this misinformation with the busy routine and the lack of specific guidance for those over 50, the result is inevitable. Practicality mindset overlaps with preservation awareness. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is a direct link between what we put on our plate and the way our brain interprets the world around us. And when we begin to understand the long-term impact of these decisions, the transformation stops being about what we eat and becomes about who we choose to be at each meal. Comment here. Let's go together, just so I know who is walking along in this search for more lucidity and vitality. Now, think about it. How many times have you heard someone say that they swapped butter for margarine to be healthier? This speech, repeated for decades, was planted so strongly that even today many people believe it without question. But behind this supposed healthy choice, there is a hidden truth that needs to be exposed. Margarine, and many other foods that seem harmless, carry an invisible bomb for the brain. Trans fats. These fats are not just caloric or fattening. The problem goes far beyond the scale. When consumed frequently, trans fats create an inflammatory environment within the body, and especially in the brain. This directly affects the production of neurotransmitters, such as acetylcholine, which is essential for the formation and retention of memories. In other words, while you think you are choosing the best for your health, you may actually be slowly rusting your mind without realizing it. And it's not just margarine. Processed snacks, stuffed cookies, frozen potatoes, fast food in general. All of these foods are rich in this type of fat, and many of them also contain additives that further cloud the functioning of the nervous system. It's as if, with each bite, you erase a part of your own life history. Small decisions that seem unimportant at the time, but that add up over the years, generate deep and silent impact. The transformation begins precisely when we decide to break with these old consumption patterns and see that mental health does not depend only on exercises and crosswords. It mainly depends on what goes on your plate every day. Eating after 50 needs to be seen as a tool for preserving identity, autonomy, and freedom. We're not just talking about living longer. We're talking about living with clarity, presence, and lucidity. And when you start to see through the underbelly of the food industry, the myths we've been sold, the ideas we've been taught to repeat, a new mindset begins to form. A mindset that's more critical, more aware, more connected to what really matters. Keeping your mind alive while your body ages. Now, I want to go even deeper into this deconstruction process, because there is another food that, despite seeming harmless, could be confusing your brain every day, especially first thing in the morning. Comment. This makes sense to me, just so I know you're seeing what's behind these choices. There is a moment of the day that is almost sacred to many people, breakfast. And for many seniors, it always comes with a steaming cup of coffee with milk, a tradition so ingrained that it seems harmless, almost untouchable. But what if I told you that this combination could be sabotaging your mental clarity early in the day? The truth is that what always seemed like part of your routine could be, little by little, compromising your memory, your sleep, and even your mood. It is no exaggeration. Science has revealed that lactose, the natural sugar in milk, becomes less and less well digested as we age. In many cases, it ferments in the intestine, causing discomfort, inflammation, and even cognitive impacts. Does it seem far-fetched? It isn't. There is a direct connection between the intestine and the brain, known as gut-brain axis, and when the digestive system is out of balance, the effects appear in the form of mental fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and even recurring forgetfulness. And then comes the caffeine. While it can provide a momentary burst of energy and focus, it can also be a real trigger for sensitive people, especially those over 50. Caffeine alters sleep patterns, increases anxiety levels, and artificially stimulates the central nervous system. The result? A body that appears to be awake, but a brain that is exhausted. Over time, this undermines reasoning, confuses the body's natural cycles, and creates a false sense of productivity, while the mind becomes more and more scattered. It's curious how these revelations go against what we've been taught. For years, we believed that the problem was just excess sugar, ultra-processed foods, industrialized foods. But when we delve into the behind-the-scenes of mental health and maturity, we realize that even the oldest and most seemingly innocent habits need to be rethought. This journey requires a new mindset, one that allows us to question traditions, observe our own bodies more closely, and make choices based not only on taste, but on the signals our bodies send us every day. Now I want to go even deeper into this process of self-knowledge about food. Because there is a type of food that, although sold as healthy, can be disguised as a solution when, in practice, it accelerates what you fear most: the erasure of your memories. There is something even more dangerous than foods that are known to be bad for your health, those that wear a mask of being healthy. Products packaged in shades of green, with eye-catching labels such as zero sugar, light, fit, natural. They occupy the most visible shelves in supermarkets, often with names that evoke nature, vitality, lightness. But when you turn the packaging over and look closely, if you have the courage to decipher the ingredients list, you'll find a series of additives, stabilizers, colors, and artificial sweeteners that are anything but light. What exists, in fact, is a hidden truth behind nutritional marketing. This is where the danger lies. Because these ultra-processed foods disguised as healthy foods take advantage of the good intentions of those who want to change their lives, lose weight, control their sugar levels, or have more energy. And it is exactly at this point in the journey that many people fall into the trap. The cereal bar full of glucose syrup and hydrogenated fat. The zero-sugar juice that comes with powerful chemical sweeteners, which affect neurotransmitters. Granola with preservatives and synthetic flavorings. All of this may seem harmless until the effects begin to manifest themselves in subtle ways: mental fatigue, loss of focus, mood swings, sporadic forgetfulness, which then becomes constant. These compounds work in a sneaky way on the nervous system. They confuse the body, mess with the hormonal balance, cause chronic inflammation, and silently intoxicate the brain. It's as if they are slowly erasing parts of your cognitive capacity without you even realizing it. You're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your forgetfulness. And the cruelest part of all is that many of these choices are made based on honest but ill-informed decisions. It's the hurry mentality, practicality, the promise of quick health which ends up costing something that no product gives back: your lucidity. When we begin to understand the industries behind the scenes, the impact goes beyond food. We start to reflect on the way we make decisions on a daily basis, on how we are influenced by packaging, slogans, and even current trends. And this is powerful, because when information arrives, transformation begins. And with it comes the desire to do things differently, to take control, to feed our brains with the same care we feed our dreams and plans. Now I want to go even deeper into this point, because there are choices so ingrained that they seem unquestionable, but that, in fact, are part of a mechanism that has never prioritized your health. If you've come this far, it's because this topic touched on something important inside you, and perhaps, like me, you're also rethinking some choices, paying more attention to the details of your daily life that used to go unnoticed. This exchange we're building here goes far beyond food. It's about awareness, care, and a new phase of life lived with more presence and clarity. So, if this content made sense to you, take advantage and subscribe to the channel. This is where we continue this journey, always bringing information that helps you better understand your body, your mind, and the decisions that build your health every day. Also, leave a comment below with the phrase, "I'm with you until the end," just so I know that you were with me in this conversation until the very last second, and that this message really found you at the right time. And of course, if you felt that this video helped you in any way, leave a like. It shows that it's worth continuing to create content like this, with depth, purpose, and real connection. And since you're here, there's a video here that complements this subject and will help you understand even more about the impacts of diet on brain function. Click and continue with me there. The conversation is just beginning.